What's up, everyone? This is my 1973 Z28 Camaro project. I got this car from my dad. He's owned this car for many decades, since I think before I was born and a kid in the 90s. And it's just always had problems. It sat not running for probably the better span of 20 years. Now I'm finally attempting to get her running again, though I'm running into a couple of different problems, but we'll go over that. Those of you who don't believe, this is a Z28. It says it right there on the badge, as well as have the matching VIN. Ooh, if we could see that. Boom, 87. That's what we're looking for. Yeah, you got this car for about $4,000, I want to say, in the early 90s. And this is what I've got done to it. Got the front end stripped out. Stroked engine. We had a B&M 144 supercharger that's over there, but finding parts for that is extremely difficult. Yeah, this engine was built good in its day, but just never quite got running correctly. Had some aluminum Holley heads on there. So the problem that we're running into with this engine is it's seized. We had a ton of crud in this cylinder, and by a ton of crud I mean probably a solid half-inch of just black material built up on top of the cylinder head. I'm not sure where that came from. I do know the car ran about 2 years ago, before my dad got in a serious car accident that almost took his life, but he can no longer walk or drive or anything, so that's why I kind of got this car. But yeah, this guy I think is our problem. The other cylinders seem good, or the other pistons seem good, but I've tried just about everything I can to get this guy unseized. Soaked in mystery oil, ATF, penetrating fluid, even heated up the cylinders. You can see this guy's a little heated up. Yeah, just absolutely nothing wanted to make this engine budge. I know there's also problems with the transmission too. It seems like it's perpetually stuck in like neutral. If I shift the shifter inside, I can see the linkage move, but the transmission just never wants to lock up like it's been put into drive or reverse. So not too sure what's happening there. But the overall plan with this car is to go ahead and obviously get the engine rebuilt and just do a pretty modest restoration. It's pretty dirty. It seems there's a bunch of rust on this part of this frame, subframe here. Honestly, I'm not even sure if the subframe is savable. I bet it is. You know, we could probably get this cleaned up, and I don't see any like holes or anything popping up anywhere. And the rest of the frame looks pretty solid. A couple of rusty areas, but you know, just around the bolts, nothing too crazy. But yeah, so a pretty modest restoration. I'm thinking about pulling the subframe, cleaning that up. I'm definitely gonna sand and primer and seal the underside of this car as well. Protect it just for another, you know, half a lifetime. So eventually this car could be my future son's. But yeah, really beautiful ride. Of course, the body's seen better days. Got a lot of chips. Got a few dings from some bikes falling on it over the years in the garage. But yeah, there's just a bunch of parts that I've been taking off the thing. There are the fenders. I'm not too big of a fan of that cowl induction hood. I'm not really sold on that. I like the blower though that I got down there. Thinking about just doing a cutout. Interior's pretty good on this car. You know, it's been sitting in a garage for the better part of 2 to 3 decades, so the interior's held up. Some things are couple of small things are broken. That dash is peeling up. Some of the clips probably came loose, but the leather in this car is in pretty good condition. No ripping or tearing or anything of that nature, and the headliner looks pretty good. You know, the only things that are really wrong with this is I took the AC out, so that won't work. Need to replace the original steering wheel. It's starting to get that gook on it. You know, that old plastic that ends up gumming up over the years. But yeah, all in all, really sweet ride. So what's interesting is the lockout for the keys works, but yeah, just the transmission does not shift. Not sure if this is the original radio. It'd be kind of cool if it is, but maybe looks like it was updated at some point. Yeah. Hopefully we can do something about this this dash. It is peeling up pretty bad, but I think it's still salvageable. I think there's a way we can get that fixed. Doors in really decent condition. Plastics in pretty decent condition. Like I said, the interior's pretty spotless. Just dirty, but all in all, pretty spotless. Oh. Of course, I have my complimentary suite of Harbor Freight tools. Gonna get me safely through the job, I'm sure of it. Just picked up this 2-ton and motor stand. Hoping to get this this motor out of here in the next couple of days, at least week, and start pulling her apart from the other side and see what's going on. This car definitely had some issues with it, especially this engine. Sorry, the whole coolant system was totally eroded. It's probably the worst erosion I've ever seen on an engine. So, and it seems like there was a bit of milkshake coming out of the oil. I couldn't tell, it was just gray. It was like it definitely mixed with some water, but I couldn't tell if that was maybe just condensation that built up over, you know, the decades that this car was just sitting. But yeah, that oil wasn't great. I've tried cleaning these cylinders and these pistons up, but yeah, so hopefully I'll be able to give you guys regular updates on this. I'm pretty aggressively going to be working on this car, so I hope within the next year I'll have this thing, you know, fully kitted out, get it back to its former glory. Yeah, just a bit of rust, some various spots. Here's that B&N supercharger. This Mallory distributor. These old, the original valve covers are pretty rusty. They're aluminum, but they had some iron in them or something like that, or some steel that rusted out pretty bad. But yeah, mostly I'm curious about this frame rail. Let me know if you guys think that this is salvageable or not, or if I should just get a new one. The interior I'm mostly worried about. I've sanded down a little bit of this just to kind of see what the extent of the damage was. I'm also going to be totally redoing the suspension. I don't know how original I'm going to keep this. Might get aftermarket, the lower and upper control arms. You know, make this thing handle like some of these more standard or newer cars of today. But yeah.